Hey everybody, I have a special video for you guys today. A coaching session with an extremely talented duelist named Froz, who's coaching through Medify. His link is in the description and the pinned comment on this video. Now, you guys know I'm no noob, but recently I've felt that I've hit a sort of a wall with my skill, and I wasn't really improving anymore. Froz was able to help me identify where I was making my mistakes and what I could practice so that I could correct my bad habits and become a better player. So, needless to say, I highly recommend that if you do want some expert help in getting better at the game, check out Froz on Medify. Now, this is a long video, but I encourage you to watch the whole thing because there's a lot of useful little tactics in here, some of which I had no clue even existed. Let me know what you think in the comments, and like and subscribe if you enjoy this. Now let's get into it.
All right, so I usually like to start these by just doing a few duels. Me and you have dueled a couple of times, obviously, but I'm just gonna see if I can, spot anything right off the bat. So yeah.
Sounds good. Damn, good fight.
Okay, nice repost hit.
Oh, I tried to duck that.
All good. All right, so definitely a few things I noticed. First of all, do you know anything about counting stam or counting reposts? You ever heard of that?
No, I've not heard of counting reposts or stamina before.
So it's a little bit of a complicated technique that I usually wouldn't tell most people, but it definitely can give you the edge in a fight, in a competitive fight, and can be the difference between winning and losing against someone that's pretty high skill. I only know a few people that do it in the community. Quasi does, Bungie does, Snake Case, as well as myself, and then a couple of other people. But it's hard. So ideally, the heavy mace is also a pretty good stam drain weapon. The best bet for you if you want to be stam intensive in a fight is a heavy stab. Most people don't use heavy stab. It's kind of weird. But if you can hit a heavy stab on a knight twice and they repost it, they don't counter it, I can almost guarantee you that third one, they're going to counter it. So that's when you throw out the heavy stab and then you morph it, into a heavy drag.
I understand.
That's just definitely a way of exploiting stamina. With Vanguard, it would probably be 3 or maybe a little bit less. It really depends on how the player is.
All right, I got you. I'll definitely try that. You see, I usually stay away from stabs. I only use stabs as a mix-up most of the time because it's like, it's a little bit harder to aim against somebody who's really moving around a lot, like you and other people who use their movement. Sometimes you miss a stab, fucked.
Oh yeah, no, I 100% get that, and yeah, most people think heavy mace stab. That makes no sense. It's a blunt weapon. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to heavy mace actually.
Same with overheads.
Okay, okay. Show me a drag, just a normal drag, like a slash drag. Show me another one. All right, so one thing. Tell me what I'm about to do. About to do a drag. That's a drag.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this, an accel.
Yeah.
We know that. That's a little bit harder to tell. If I have a little bit of advice for you on that. Don't telegraph your drags as much. Don't, go out so soon. You have a lot of time in the windup and then in the release. Wind up and release. Let's talk about that for a second. When you're in windup, which is when you're winding up your attack, your weapon doesn't exist yet. It's nothing. It's just a model on your character. It's when it releases that really matters. That's when the hit comes out, correct?
Yeah.
What you want to do when you're dragging and when you're excelling is keep looking center at your opponent until the absolute last second, right when your windup ends and your release begins. Then you want to drag out, so it'll look like this.
Okay. Yeah, I do feel like my drags are a bit telegraphed most of the
It's
time.
a lot of people's are, but a high level player is gonna recognize that you're about to drag. If you're dragging out really early, it's how people catch them normally. Yeah, so why don't you try out that a little bit? Try to, release as late as possible and then dragging out. You'll catch a lot more people with that, in high level duels. 100%. And then do the same thing for XL, just lean in.
I feel like I'm still might be doing a little early.
I know it's weird. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna overhead into a slash drag, and I'll tell you when you have the timing right, okay? Just keep throwing them. So just try to get that timing as late as possible. So you're moving too early. So when you're in your overhead and then you're morphing that into a slash, or you're feinting it into a slash, sorry, more how terms. When you're feinting it into a slash, just keep looking center at my face. Okay? Are you first person or are you third?
I'm third, but I can do both.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm third person too. So just keep, that little white dot, just keep that center right on my face while you're doing the overhead.
What am I doing?
And then you feint it into a slash, and then try to stay looking at me until the last possible second, and then drag out.
I think my timing's a little fucked today.
That was good. That was good.
That was early as fuck.
Little too early, yeah. Try it again. Not bad. That was a good one. See, that is way harder to read already than, doing just dragging out. So try it with accels now.
Okay, let me try an XL. Oops, I keep fucking the timing up.
That's good. There you go. Looking better already.
Alright.
Very nice. Does that make sense? Do you think you generally got the hang of that?
It does make sense. Now
a big part of all of this is mind games and trickery. You can have good swing manipulation, you can have good footwork, but if you're not getting into your opponent's head at all, if you're not playing into your hand, if you're not taking the stage on the fight, you're not going to get really anywhere. That's what separates the higher echelon and then a casual dueler. It's a lot of mind games. It's a lot of trying to trick your opponent. And I think that's generally what you should, start looking at duels as, is you are actively trying to trick your opponent and confuse them. That's really what it is. Alrighty. Any questions? And then we'll do a couple more duels.
I think I got it. I think, I think we can do a couple more duels because everything you said was pretty clear.
Sounds good. Oh, a nice spin.
Damn.
One thing I always recommend people is, once in a while, just, if they have an overly aggressive playstyle, which I don't necessarily think you do, but on heavy mace, usually you're going to naturally be aggressive just because the weapon favors you when you're using it. Just try to sit back and play passive. If you're ever doing bad against somebody, try to sit back, play a little bit more defensively, kind of just really see what they're doing. See where they make a mistake. Wait for them to make a mistake and then you capitalize on it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with playing more passive and, letting them, throw everything they have at you and just working on, defending against it.
Got it. Yeah, I try to do that sometimes. For example, like, if you just hit me or something, I'll just stare at you for a second and let you do your shit.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with playing neutral for a bit.
Damn, that drag is... Crazy.
Nice, isn't it? No, it works. Trust me, it definitely works.
That was the stab into slash, right?
It was, yeah. That's mainly what I use when I run heavy mace, is that stab into slash. So how do you look at jabs in fights?
I don't do them too much, but I look for openings for them all the time. Like, if I see you fainting a lot, I'll go for more jabs. Or, you know, the normal openings. That was stupid. I do a lot. If like, say we get caught in this counter battle for a long time, then I'll start looking for feint to jabs.
Definitely, yeah. What I always tell people is, you know, don't look at jabs as a way to create an opportunity, because it's not, and 9 times out of 10 it can get you punished when you panic jab after you get attacked, and that's what a lot of people do. I haven't seen you do it, which is good, but you know, look at jabs, you know, look for opportunity to jab. You know, it should be something that, you know, can be used on a whim, but never use it as the do-all end-all, you know, in your fighting. I don't think that your defense is actually bad at all. I think you generally have very good defense. You know, just fighting you, I do have to kind of pull out some stuff that I don't usually have to. So I don't think there's much to talk about there. I think if I were to, you know, tell you what to work on, I think it would definitely be your offense. I think you should try to, you know, reinvent what you do as much as you can. But overall, I'd say you're in a pretty good place. Do have some stuff we're going to talk about at the end here, but I think your defense is pretty good where it's at. Ah, very nice. I was out of stam there. Is there any weapons that you have a hard time fighting against that you want me to go as?
Probably the Messer is one of my weakest weapons. The Messer and also the two-handed hammer I struggle against for some reason.
2 weapons that I used to main. Messer on Knight or Vanguard?
I think either one is tough, but probably Knight more so.
Alrighty.
Just because with the Vanguard, you know, you only need a couple lucky hits to kill a Vanguard sometimes.
True. That's true.
Damn it.
Very good fight.
The problem I have with Messer is not even just the animations. Like, that is one of the things. Like, the animations are kind of hard to read for me. But also, like, when I'm even using the Messer, it's just, I can't, like, the, what's it called? Like, the turn cap on the Messer. Like, usually when I struggle with a weapon, I'll just use the weapon for 100 hours so that I get better with it and I know how to fight it. But with the Messer, like, I've used the Messer for probably, like, 200 hours now. And no matter what I do with it, I just can't deal with the slow turn cap. It fucks me up. Like, my tracking with it's not good. Turn cap's slow. That's why I like weapons like the heavy mace that have like a relatively good turn cap and it's a fast as hell weapon or a slow weapon, whatever you want it to be.
I got you, yeah. Well, one thing I'll say is that on Messer Knight, if you're playing Messer Heavy or Heavy Mace Knight, you have a huge advantage over them on stamina. So, you know, let's say you're in a duel and, you know, they got you low on health. That's a perfect example of when to kind of sit back and play a little bit more into their mistakes. Because most Messer users, they're gonna make a lot of mistakes. They're gonna mess up a feint to drag, or they're gonna mess up a spin. You know, what's good about the heavy mace is it probably has the best punishes in the game, if I'm being honest with you. You know, you can repost so fast, you can drag very effectively. You know, it is quintessential for just playing passive and letting your opponent make a mistake. But at the same time, it has a very good, you know, amount of offensive alternatives for when you do want to play aggressive. because you have to kind of find that balance between, okay, my opponent's low on stam, my opponent's low on health. Let me start playing more aggressive. Let me start pressuring him. That's when you have them, because they're going to make more mistakes than they ever did when they're backed up against a wall, and they're gonna mess up, and that's going to be an easy kill for you. So, when you're fighting a messer or most weapons, don't think about so much as contending with them offensively. Think about it as much as waiting for them to trip up, from a defensive perspective. Because it is on your side at the end of the day. You do a lot more stamina damage, and you have a lot more stamina in general when it comes to, fighting. Messer Vanguard, you do a lot of damage. Like you said, only takes a couple of hits. So if you're fighting a Messer Knight, it's only a matter of time before you can outstam them. If you just really, dig in and Jesus, if you really just dig in and play a certain way, it'll work out for you 9 times out of 10. So how about we try that? How about, you try to play a little bit more passively. We're going to vote kick this guy, hopefully, and we're going to see how it goes, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, let's try that. I know there's a couple things you can exploit with the Messer, like if you're feinting a lot, the heavy mace could probably beat some of those feints.
Oh yeah,
especially
100%.
the spins.
Wait, when it comes to, gambling for me, just wait for the scream. When the enemy lets out a scream, that means they're heavying. You can gamble that. When you hear that, throw a repost, throw an accel. You'll beat them. I don't know if you use the audio cues in this game too much, but it definitely can help out.
I definitely use the audio cues when in like TO a lot, but not super much in duels. Like I usually use instead of audio cues in duels, I usually try to like read what they're doing. Like I try to look for a pattern. Like if I see you feint 3 times in a row or something, the next time you feint, I'm gonna go for the accel and try to beat you, kind of thing.
And that definitely works. And you have to find kind of a good balance. But when it comes to audio cues, I always listen for the scream. When they scream like my character is right now, that's how you know they're about a heavy. That's kind of like your green light. Okay, gamble this. With the heavy mace, throw out a quick little accel. Boom, you got the damage done. And it's actually a lot easier in duels because in TO everybody's screaming. In duels usually you can only really hear your opponent, because it's more one-on-one. So it's a lot more easy once you get some practice in on it. Definitely.
Wait, can you heavy again real quick?
Yep.
Okay. I might have to adjust my headphones because honestly I can't really even hear that. I can't even hear the scream that much.
The voice that I use, he kind of like grumbles a little bit instead of screams, but on most... Wait, no. Go up close to that pickle guy, I'm gonna tell him to throw a heavy.
That's a special, but...
There you go, you hear him?
That's pretty loud.
Yeah, but you can hear it. Yeah, it's pretty loud on some of the voices, so that's definitely something to take into account. Maybe you have to turn up your audio a bit. I don't know. You'll find the sweet spot, but that's definitely something to kind of help you over time. You're not gonna need it as much. This guy. Over time, you're not gonna need it as much because you're gonna start getting used to the times, and you're gonna start getting used to how your opponent moves when he's about a heavy, because everybody moves differently. Everyone has their own type of footwork, You know when someone's about to go for a drag usually when they start kind of moving inwards towards you. So, I mean, how do you move when you're about to throw a drag? I never even asked you that. Do you have any type of movement?
Probably do. I feel like maybe we should get into a duel real quick because it's hard for me to like remember how I do it unless I'm in a defensive situation,
But just to tell you, ideally the generally agreed on movement pattern you should use when you're doing a drag is kind of like this. So you kind of want to move inwards towards them like this, and then you're gonna ideally want to drag it almost like to hit the nape of their neck or their back. And obviously in a duel, I know it can get really weird. You guys are gonna be moving around each other. Nobody's ever standing still, but just try to keep that in mind because sometimes it will help out a lot.
Yeah, I know for overhead specifically, like when I go for a toe drag, I definitely will move more towards this side. to do
Yeah,
like to
definitely.
do the toe drags, but I'm not entirely sure that I do that when I'm doing a normal drag. I feel like I'm usually trying to stay square with the opponent and then do a you know, for example, I'll do like a look up drag like that and try to like hit you in the back of the neck like that instead of moving my
Yeah,
actual character model that way.
100%. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's go ahead and hop in a duel. Remember what we talked about? Try to focus on playing a little bit more into my mistakes. I know that was a while ago, but there you go.
Not gonna lie, the game just didn't register my feint.
Well, that's okay, you know. Or as long as it gets through, I guess.
We're being attacked.
Very nice. I completely ran out of stamina there. So, would you say that, when you're, in a fight with somebody, regardless of the weapon, would you say that you try to be generally cautious when it comes to gambling as to not get punished for it?
Yeah, I'll only do it when I'm pretty sure that it's gonna go through. I'm not gonna
I
just throw
noticed,
them
yeah.
out at the middle of the fight.
So, I noticed that. And there's no real way that I can coach you to kind of break that habit. It's only going to come with time. But if I'm throwing a feint to heavy, you can gamble that, my friend. Have 100% faith in the fact that if I'm, doing this, it's an easy gamble. The double overhead, I'm gonna do a double overhead, okay? Just
Yeah.
as soon as it starts, throw a normal overhead, not heavy, just a normal one, okay? Again, easy as that, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I get mentally caught up in the counter battle sometimes. And that's why it doesn't
I
really.
100% get it. It's just kind of a habit that you're gonna have to learn to break. But when it comes to the heavy mace, it is your best friend, your times and your readings. So if you want, what we can do is we're gonna, I'll flourish you. We'll start a duel. I'm gonna throw a shit ton of, feint to heavies. Okay, just try to get comfortable with gambling them. Okay.
All right.
All right, sounds good. Oh, I'm having a little bit of a lag
Yeah,
spike.
something's happening. You're like,
Oh, Nitrado
I don't even know what
servers.
the hell. You had 0 ping.
Nice. Ah, very nice. I
feel like
I missed
you
that, but
missed
that was
me.
good.
Yeah,
That was very good.
it also has something to do with player skills. Like the person I'm fighting, I think mentally, like I just don't have the confidence to let it fly as much. Like just let the attack fly and go for a accel.
Oh, I get that, 100%. I had a very similar problem. Yeah, when I would go up against somebody that I know knows their stuff, yeah, I would definitely find myself not playing my best. And then, it's extremely frustrating. But once you can get past that mental barrier of, you know, just another guy, you know what I mean? They start to be, they start to feel a lot more human, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Gambling was definitely kind of, God, this sounds so weird. Gambling attacks, I should say, was definitely kind of a way that I kind of learned to break that, scared, scared to do anything crazy, playing more passive against good players. Because if you can interrupt their attack, no matter how good they are, no matter what skill level they are, it is going to mess up their whole momentum and shift it in your favor. It's
Yeah.
just what's going to happen.
I definitely have to take more risks in duels.
Nice.
Yeah, I see.
Perfect. That
Yeah,
was good.
think I'm starting to get that a little bit.
So what do you know about jumping overheads? Have you ever tried doing that? I don't think I've ever seen you do it.
You mean jumping overheads as in I'm jumping, or doing a stouty jump like to
A
dodge?
stouty jump.
Yeah, I do them occasionally. I'm not like super confident in my ability to do it, but like I know how to do the short dodge, the Steve dodge, the stouty jump. I know a couple of those techs. Okay, we got a fucking archer in here now. I know them, but I'm not like an expert at them or anything like that.
Yeah, I do it quite often. It's kind of hard to do against a heavy mace, but against a messer, which you said you have had problems with, it is really easy to stouty jump a messer. If they're doing an alt stab, it is ridiculously easy. And is that something you'd be interested in trying out, or do you feel like it's just a little bit too much?
Hell yeah, I'm down to try anything out.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw some stabs. Just try jumping them. Ideally, you want to jump and then overhead in the same fluid motion. I'm assuming you know that.
Yeah, I think I did it. I did it at least one time by accident in one of those duels we just did.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna throw one at you. Just try to jump it, okay?
Yep.
There you go.
No, I
Oh,
jumped the
sorry,
wrong
wrong.
way.
Yeah.
Whoops, that was not a jump.
Nice. Now I'm gonna try to track you in the air, so it's gonna make it a little bit harder, but you can still land it. So it might take a couple tries, but if you can get the hang of it, the timing will be a lot easier. All right. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, so you do know how to do this pretty well.
Yeah, I pull it off when I can figure it out. It's hard. It's hard to do a move like that in the middle of a duel when you're trying to figure out what they're gonna do next.
Once you start getting used to it and start getting comfortable and kind of accept the fact that you might get hit sometimes, because you will. It's a weird tactic to do, and it can really backfire on you. It'll become a lot more easier to pull off. And I just think that would be good to do on the heavy mace against the messer, because it's one of the most easy, it's the easiest thing to exploit when it comes to the messer. As someone that does a heavy overhead, just jump right over it.
All right, I'm definitely gonna try that against Manalig next time.
Switch
Maniling's
weapons with me real quick.
Manalig's one of probably the hardest messer players I've fought. He does like crazy spins. I don't even understand how he does it.
Would you like me to try to replicate that?
Sure.
Alright, because I can do some pretty crazy spins on the messer, so I'll try my best. Oh, I already outstand myself. That's what you gotta do.
That was pretty close to it.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do you know what the easiest thing in this game to gamble is? This isn't a trick question. Normal, just
Probably an
easiest thing in this
overhead, I
game.
would say.
Not even
Maybe.
that, but a spin. A
Yeah.
spin is the easiest thing in this game to gamble. So if that's how Mr. Manileg is tripping you up, is with these crazy spins, bro, just gamble him.
Yeah.
That's really your best bet.
It's weird because you don't know when he's gonna pull it off. It's not like this. He disguises it very well, like kind of like you do. Like you don't know if it's gonna be a spin or not, because he'll throw like a bunch of accels. He's kind of conditioning me with a bunch of accels, and he'll just go into like this desyncy ass spin that just chops my head off.
Here's a way to think about gambling, okay? Here's what a daddy where does who's pretty good at gambling. Here's what he taught me back in the day. If you're gonna go for a gamble that you're not 100% confident is a gamble, disguise it as a counter. So it sounds a little weird, but once I explain it to you, it'll make a little bit more sense. So let's say I'm about to do a spin like this, and you don't know whether it's going to be an XL, so I'll just go like this, or I'm actually going to do the full 360 and spin it. That's kind of what you have in mind, right? Disguising it,
Yeah.
you don't know what it's going to be. What you should do is you should get ready to counter that XL, and if he decides to spin, keep that going, and you'll gamble him. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
if he XLs, you're fortifying yourself from that by going for the counter. But if he spins, you're guaranteeing that you're going to gamble it.
Yeah,
I mean,
think that's definitely what I should be doing. I feel like what I actually end up trying to do is I notice the spin last second and I try to go for an alt counter, alt/counter or something, and then I'm just too late and get hit. I think.
All right, so let's practice that for a second. I'm going to throw that exact spin. What I want you to do is, whether it's going to be an XL or a spin, you don't know, but just do what I just told you. Try to counter it like it's going to be an XL, okay?
All right.
Alrighty. Oh, all good. Went right through me.
Yeah, that definitely helps out. I think I just
Simple
need to
as
be more. Yeah, I think I need to be a little more confident in my in my gamble, because sometimes you don't know what's gonna hit first. Kind of trip yourself up.
Definitely. Very nice. I can see you're already starting to get more confident with it.
Let me pick up a Messer too.
Okay.
See how this goes, because Messer, I feel like if I was better with it, then
Oh, I messed that up.
damn it.
Okay, you got me.
Yeah, you got me with. I was gonna go for a spin there, and it just got me
Simple as
with
that.
the same trick that you just taught me.
Yep, it works. Trust me. I wouldn't teach you something I don't do myself. Alrighty,
Okay.
so we have about 10 minutes left. I'm gonna close up with some extra stuff I want to tell you, as well as reiterate everything else. After the Medify session is technically complete, there's going to be a points of contention, which is going to be listed. It should link you it after the session is complete on the website. It's going to tell you stuff to work on, and it's going to tell you what you should do to, help work on it. Make sense?
Makes sense.
So that'll be there for you to read. But I'm just going to go over everything real quick for you. All right. So number one is 100% getting more used to the idea of interrupting your opponent's attacks. Just try to get yourself more comfortable with that. Are you gonna die a couple times? Yeah, but overall, anything you can do to kind of, get rid of that worry that you're gonna get killed and kind of, beat out that sort of, I guess, fear that you have towards it will help you 100%. Number two is getting more used to drags and accels in the way that I taught you. Just keep practicing that. Honestly, you don't have to practice it against anyone. You could really just sit there for 10 minutes and just until you get comfortable with the timing. Will you look a little bit stupid? Yeah, it's like you're fighting a ghost, but at the same time, it'll help you out. Start working on implementing it in your fights. and it will definitely improve your gameplay overall. I didn't mention this, but keep in mind the range advantage that you have. You will have better range than some weapons on heavy mace, so always try to use that in your favor. I think you already do a pretty good job at ranging. You know when to face hug, you know when to back up. I don't really think you have too much of a problem, just something to keep in mind. Always, you can abuse it sometimes.
For sure.
I'd say otherwise, maybe practice a little bit more fighting against Messer. If you ever need me, obviously I'll help you out, man.
All right. Well, thank you for the training session, man. It's a lot of
Of course,
fun.
of course. Thanks for doing it. I'm just trying to get this started. Please leave a testimony once the session's complete, so I can become a Metafy partner.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem.